So the big question on everyone's lips, of course, is Scum worth $20? It's early access. The price will go up as the game is developed, and we do need to have a look at it and actually decide, is this game worth you spending your hard-earned money on? Admittedly, there's a lot more to be done for this game. There's a lot more that is going to be developed, but let's see what you're going to get for your $20. And you make the decision as to whether you think it's worth it or not, but I'll give you my thoughts as well. Firstly, up front, the UI, the interface to getting into servers is a little bit clunky. You've got to keep hitting the refresh button to find servers. The pings don't work very well. They do eventually, but it's not exactly a smooth going right there. Character creation. There's been a lot said about the Scum character creation, and I have to reinforce what has been said. It is detailed, interesting, a lot of fun, and the changes that you make here will make big differences to your gameplay. By the way, I definitely recommend that you have a character that can run, and run a long way, because you're going to be doing a lot of that in Scum. When you log in, you get, this is the character that you're going to be having to start with in his prison fatigues. Now look, the controls are a little bit unusual, some of them. It probably took me, I would say, 5 minutes, 6, 7, 8 minutes or so, just messing around trying to figure out the controls, going into the options, flicking a few things around, trying to work out exactly what everything did. But to its credit, when you get the hang of it, it does work actually quite well. These are the drones that will turn up from time to time. They seem pretty damn random, I'll tell you that, and they are meant to be recording your gameplay. They are literally at this stage just a decoration and just a slight annoyance more than anything else. Though I do like the way they zip off into the air. That's pretty cool. Now, one of the things which is interesting here is the actual map itself. It's 12 by 12 kilometers, so it's a big map. It doesn't have many markings on it, but you do have a little symbol on it which marks exactly where you are and where you're facing. Big map, and you're always going to know where you are on it. The animations are smooth. I'm going to give them that. They are smooth, not perfect in every way, but they are good. The visuals, very sharp, very good. The scenery, the view distance, certainly on my computer, it was looking really, really good. Now, that's an Unreal 4 engine working to its best, probably. You have this zoom mode, a focus mode, where if you've got tracking, you can see things a little bit quicker. You also will hear sounds a bit sharper, but it's also just a magnification viewpoint. I actually really like it. This looks really good in my opinion. The distance view is really sharp. Now let's look at the inventory, crafting, metabolism, and the events. What are they like? The inventory itself is not too dissimilar to some others I've seen in Survivor games. It is broken down into the head, into the torso, and the legs, and each item that you put on them has inventory slots where you can move things around, and they got to fit in there as you would expect. Now, it isn't perfect, not by any stretch of the imagination. It still has issues where if you pick things up into your hands and there is an inventory slot and you actually pick something else up, you will drop what's in your hands. I've already lost equipment that way, but it's pretty good, pretty good. The crafting system, well, it took me a while to figure this out. It's not user-friendly. It certainly gives you some good clues as to what you do or could do, but you do have to have a good read of how you can craft things. There is a lot of things to craft, and as you craft things, you get fame points. That's an important thing to remember. Now, what a lot of people talk about is the metabolism, and there's been a lot of videos on this. It is detailed to say the least, and I certainly support the viewpoint that it is a game in itself. You have 4 key things down the bottom. on the right hand side, your stomach, intestines, colon and bladder volume. What you eat will give you nutrients or not. It will fill up your stomach or not. It will give you sugar and energy or not. Everything has minerals, vitamins, all sorts of nutrients. You need to actually monitor what you're eating to keep your energy levels up, your stomach full, and not to lose weight. It's actually quite interesting. I quite enjoy it. The events themselves, interesting. Now this is the real game changer, and what you can do is you can select events, and there's a few here. Obviously there might be more to come. You basically select one, then say I want to be on blue team, red team, and you just sit there and wait until other people turn up. Now there are 32 people playing on this server, and there was 32 people playing on this server probably for the good 3 to 4 hours I was playing, and in that whole time only one lot of people played an event with me. Now there were no other events being played. This is going to be interesting to see how this pans out, because a survivor game is about surviving, and this is really out on a limb. I actually quite enjoyed it, but I don't know how popular it is. Just a couple of the other little interesting dynamics is you have the ability, obviously not just to melee, but you have the ability to throw items. Now overall the melee is a little bit unusual. It has the strikes and it has a blocking mechanism, but you also have this, what I consider to be actually a really nice throwing mechanism. I don't know how functional it is in the game in the long term, but it's good for a silent kill. But when you actually get into fisticuffs, so to speak, like here I throw a spear, it does get the zombie, or the meat bag as I like to call them, but then I pull out my hatchet and we basically go toe to toe. Now, I didn't do a very good job here. This is the first melee I got into with a meat bag, and I was really getting my ass whipped. But overall, just as this little melee continued, it has a feel of real tangibility. It actually feels solid. Yes, I was flailing around like an idiot, that's for sure, but it actually feels quite good. It feels like I'm in this combat, we're moving smoothly, your animations are good, and watch this killer blow. Woof. It's good. Now the zombie, the AI, they can't come into buildings yet. That's going to be changed. But they're actually pretty good the way they move. The different type of zombies, there seems to be several different types. There'll probably be more as the game is developed. This one is a fatty one trying to chase me, and I outpace him with no problems at all. One of the interesting parts, of course, of any survival game is the AI around their aggro distance. Now I've seen games which have really struggled with this, but let's take this one. I just walk towards it. Now I would expect it to start aggroing on me about here, and sure enough it did. And there you go. I actually think that was pretty good. And at a slow jog, old Tubby here with a dodgy leg, he's got no chance. I'm a fast runner. Yeah, the AI seems pretty good on the zombies or the puppets. Call them what you want. Now you're not alone on the map, even if you forget the other players. There is actually wildlife around. I came across a bear, and I heard a pig, and I heard some sheep. Now this is quite good. Look at this bear. I spot him or her, and it spots me. Now in a lot of games the bear would just go raw and then charge straight at you, but this bear doesn't. We have a staring match. Yep. And I think this is what would happen. The bear goes, nah, and runs off. I like that. It's good. And the other thing you obviously need to be aware of in this game is the fame points. At the top right hand corner of the screen are my fame points. You actually gather these the longer you live, but only very slowly. But you seem to gather them quite quickly if you craft items as well, or do things in the game. But of course one of the big ways is actually going into events. So I had selected an event, and then you get this notification up onto the top right hand side which says an event is upcoming. For this one, it's going to basically teleport me to the event, which was a deathmatch, which you're basically in a sealed off area, exactly like you'd like a Call of Duty deathmatch. God knows how I survived that one, but there was a second player. The game has a very interesting dynamic around view, third person, and it actually works quite well. I quite liked it. Very clumsy with the controls, still getting the hang of them. But this was the only deathmatch in probably 3 hours of play. And that says a lot, because this is a survivor game, and that's what people are mostly interested in.
4, 3, 2.
But as the deathmatch comes to an end, yep, of course, yours truly won it. And you get a whole bunch of fame points for winning, and you can trade those in for respawns. And that's what you get the fame points mostly for, is respawning back into the game. And you can respawn back in either on, well, close to your person, close to your teammates, or within the sector, and they cost you fame points to be able to do that. And I did actually use some in a later game to be able to retrieve my gear. Now look, this game is interesting. I played it for a good solid 4 hours, I suppose, and my overall feel about it is that right now it is very, very DayZ-ish, for want of a better word. There is a meaninglessness, if that's a word, to the game. Without there being the ability to fortify or make bases, but you can make boxes, I agree with that, but the boxes will just sit on the ground, you can't protect them in any shape or form. The game is a little bit of a DayZ wandering around, do whatever you want, but it does have some extra elements to it, and it is a hell of a lot sharper and a hell of a lot better than DayZ is after 4 years of development. I don't want to compare them constantly like that, but it's important to recognize that this game is pretty damn sharp. Now, I actually quite enjoyed it, and I think if you played this with someone else, if you played this with a friend, I think it's a bloody enjoyable game. So is it worth $20? That's the big question. Well, all I can say is, what else can you buy with $20? A few cups of coffee, you go out and have something to eat somewhere. You can't buy a lot of books for $20, you know, and you're going to play this game a lot. Is it worth $20? Yeah, it is. It is worth $20, but don't expect to be playing it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. This game needs development, it needs work, and there is no two ways about that. But it has some really exciting prospects, and I'm pleased that I'm part of it to see how it will go. I just hope that they just don't take too long to implement core things that make this game work, that will make this game work, and that is modability. Can people mod it? Fortifications or base building, and vehicles. You need the ability to create your own story in these games. There have been lots of videos about why other survivor games have not done well, and it always comes down to that. Can you make your own story? And if you can make your own story in this game, then it's going to do really well. But it's not quite there yet, but for what it is, yeah, I actually recommend it. So hopefully this hasn't been 15 minutes of your day wasted, and it's going to help you make an informed decision. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next chapter.